Hey, what's going on, everybody? I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm here laying against my pillow with my lovely wife, Dr. Alicia. We are literally cruising down the Nile. How cool is that?
That's so awesome. Really, really cool voice.
That's the Nile, not denial.
The now. Yeah.
The Nile, yes. So I want to say what's up to everybody and hope you all are doing well. And it's literally like 6 a.m. here, so I know I'm gonna be so
That's
sleepy.
it. No, I'm up. I'm up for the rest of the day.
Yeah, for the rest of the day.
I slept all day long.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take another nap. The jet lag has been just crazy.
I'm wide awake. I'm not going back to
Yeah.
sleep.
Oh, you're wide awake. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I slept through dinner and the dancing. Dinner
Oh,
and
you
dancing.
missed all the electric sliding
I
and everything.
missed it. You know I like the electric slide.
Yeah, yeah,
Line
yeah.
dancing is so much fun.
Well, they had that one song, the Doo Doo Brown song.
Do the brown.
Doo,
What?
no,
What?
no, no,
What?
no. It's like doo doo down, doo 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 brown.
Oh,
Doo.
down, down to the. Okay, yeah. Those are
Yeah,
fun. I missed all of that.
you did, you
I was
did.
knocked out.
Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. How are you? Hey, Detroit man, B. Martin, the housing blog, FW Sigmas, Regina Colloway from Chicago. Good to see you, Egg Dawn, Salam Thompson. Let's do a quick audio test if you don't mind. Everybody put a big yes or B1 or shout out your city. Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a response real quick in the chat. Let me know you can hear me okay. It's called the Cupid Shuffle. Is that what it is? Why is it Doo Doo Brown? I don't want that's anyway, I don't want to talk about that. All right, anyway, can you guys hear us okay? Are you guys able to hear us? Because we're since we're on this ship, we're on this cruise ship as part of the our group trip to Egypt. The B1 people, B1 Voyages, B1Voyages.com is doing a group trip to Egypt,
This is
and
inaugural trip.
it's our first B1 Voyages trip.
Yes.
It won't be the last, and we're literally sitting in the middle of the freaking desert, and it's been amazing. I mean, just to see all the stuff in ancient Egypt, and you went to go visit your cousin them,
Yeah, I got to see my cousins.
King Ramses the Third.
King
You
Ramses the Third. I am a descendant.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yeah. So Alicia's DNA says she's a descendant of King Ramses the Third. So we got a chance to go inside his tomb. We actually saw King Tut,
King
which
Tut.
oh,
Whoa.
that was something else. Here's our picture of us with King Tut, and the guy. You go in there. Here's a little tip: if you go to Egypt and you go into the tombs, if you wave around like 5 or 10 or $20 bills, those guys will do anything that you need them to do. They'll break rules for you. So this guy
Oh
went behind. He
gosh.
went behind the rope and he took that picture. We could not get that picture on our own. He took
No.
that. They give you special pictures, and I said, man, this is great.
It's a hustle. I'm gonna tell
You
you.
know what? And I loved it. I loved it. I
It
said,
was kind of nerve wracking to me though.
it was a lot, but I liked it because I respect any man who's willing to go out in 100-degree heat to provide for his family. That's a man right there. I know people that won't go to work in the
Okay.
air condition.
So in your mind, you think that this is like gruesome for them and that it's the heat for them. And in your mind, you're thinking they're providing for a family. You don't know this about them, but this is what you're projecting onto these people.
Oh no, I know this because I asked them. I asked them whenever I talk to the guys. I don't want to treat them. They always tell you to dehumanize them. They always say ignore them, don't talk to
Do
them,
they
act like.
say I have a family and I'm in the 100-degree
Some
heat?
of them volunteer the information because some might be trying to get a sale. But a lot of them, first thing I do is I shake their hand. I say, "Hello, brother. How are you? My name is Boyce. What is your name?" And like Ahmed, when we went into King Tut's tomb, it wasn't King Tut. Maybe it was Ramses' tomb.
Yeah, Ramses.
Yeah, Ahmed. I said, "Do you have children?" And he said, "Yes, I have 4 children." And I don't have any reason not to believe him.
No, I don't, they don't come across as manipulative like that in that way.
Right,
They
right.
don't actually they come across as straightforward.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like, I take picture, you pay me money.
Yeah,
They're
well, you know
funny.
what? The hustle's real, and let me tell you, you learn a lot about. If you ever want to learn really good sales tactics, go to these countries, and I mean, there's such good salespeople. I mean, it's very pushy, and it's really a little bit harassing, but it's actually quite impressive when you see somebody like I saw a 7-year-old kid who was out in 100-degree heat who was really using advanced sales techniques that I know college graduates who can't do that, right? And so really, I would say that there's something admirable about. So anyway, long story short,
So
I
you
I
admire that. Okay, so
I
wait, I want
do
to talk
I
about
do.
that because like I'm a tourist. I want to be able to, I want to get into my meditative state. I want to be able to go through the tomb, and I don't want anybody talking to me, bothering me, asking me for money. I just want to like connect with the history. And
True.
I had a hard time doing that when you were around in particular, because somehow I think they must have told everybody the guy in that hat, he's the one that took
Yeah.
you. So I had to I really had to put my headphones on. I had to listen to my meditation music, and I had to break away from the commotion because I don't want to be harassed. This is sacred land.
It
And I just want to be able to absorb it and take it in,
Oh, I respect
you
that.
know.
I completely respect that. I just will say I connected with the brothers because they, we all had brown skin. Those white people were walking right past them. I said, I'm not gonna walk right past you. I see you, and it might inconvenience me. Yes, I'm a rich American with a pocket full of money who could walk right past you as if you didn't exist.
It's so
But
funny.
that's not how I was raised. That's not how I'm built. And it's no disrespect to anybody else's approach. It's just like I really enjoy getting to know them, and I would ask them, and before I give them money, I would ask them something about their family, or I would say something real simple like, "Are you a good man?" And he would
Yeah, I
say,
remember. Of course they're gonna say
they would always say
yes.
yes, right? And then I pull out a 20. It's like, okay, cool, we good, Anyway, so let's get back to it. Okay, so
Okay.
y'all didn't want to hear about our trip, but anyway, those are some. I'll share some pictures if you guys want to see some images from our trip to Egypt. By the way, if you want to see King Tut up close, the brother inside the tomb went behind the rope and took this picture for us. Isn't that crazy? Look at that. Do
Look
y'all
at
see
his
that
teeth.
picture?
You see his teeth?
It's nuts. That is
That's
crazy that that picture
wait,
is 3,000 years old.
can you show his toes? His little shriveled up toes?
Oh wait,
Did you put that?
there's his toes.
His toes are
Those are
shriveled.
literally King Tut's toes. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that
That's
that's
so
insane, right? So
that's a
anyway, okay, so I see we got some little Negro naysayers in the chat.
what they say.
Welcome to the Negro naysayers. Anyway, they're
Oh,
asking
I
if
can't see.
they're the types of people who find a problem for every solution. So Jasmine Lee is asking, Dr. Boyce, is your wife mixed? Now he's asked that question several times. Now we mentioned that you are a descendant of King Ramses III. Are you mixed? Which white man or white woman gave birth to you?
No, no, wait. Listen. That's a legitimate question because I understand
I
how I
know, that's why
look.
I'm asking it.
I'm not mixed, but there are people who are mixed who are darker than me.
That's so true.
That is very accurate. So I don't have a hang up about it, but that's a legitimate question.
That is a legitimate question.
That's just how I turned out. I
That's
don't know what
true.
to say.
So there we go. Now
It's my
to I and
DNA.
I know Alicia's mother and father, and both of them are black, and
They are. It's
they're
so
certainly
funny.
blacker than you. Now, speaking of black stuff, okay, Jasmine Lee is a woman. I'm sorry, Jasmine. Okay, so
Oh,
question: how many of you saw Judge Joe Brown and his he went on a little rant about Kamala? I want to say Kamala, not Kamala. Kamala.
wait, what is it? Kamala?
Yeah, I got corrected. I called her Kamala,
It's
and
not Kamala, it's Kamala.
that's what somebody said.
Oh, I can't stand that.
Yeah, I got corrected because I talked to my friend. I said, well, I would vote for Kamala, but she said, no, it's Kamala. I said, oh, sorry, I would vote for Kamala, but I don't vote for Democrats or Republicans because all these problems that black people are having were caused by both parties.
You're a one issue voter.
Well, the problem is that most major cities that have all
Uh-huh.
these issues for black people are run by Democrats. So if the Democrats are
That's
running
what
it
the
and the cities are all fucked up, then why in the hell would I care who's in charge?
wait, hold on, hold on. Are you saying, because I hear a lot of people on Fox News, they say that. What you just said,
Mhm.
I've heard people on Fox News repeat that. Like
Right.
you've repeated what I've heard people say on Fox News.
Right.
So are you blaming the politicians in these major cities? You're blaming the
Yes.
politicians for the crime.
Yes, because you and I both live in Chicago, where 109.
I don't know if that's
Listen, hold on, check
fair.
it out, check it out, check it out. They got us all triggered over one police shooting, right? Because they always do that before every election. They find one police shooting, and they use that to rally black people to say, if you don't vote for us, this is going to happen to you. Okay, fine. But then the problem is that how many of y'all heard any of the major Democrats say a word when 109 people got shot in the city of Chicago?
I've heard them
Remember,
say things.
Chicago's run by Democrats. They could stop that. I was in Chicago that weekend. I was at a very nice area where there was white people. Not one white person got shot, but 109 of our people got shot that weekend. If 109 white people had got shot, tell me if y'all agree with me. If 109 white people had got shot in the area I was in, that would have been a national crisis. They would have fixed that immediately. But
Okay. I
because it
don't
was
think
black
it's
people in poor
necessary.
neighborhoods, they didn't give a damn.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily fair to say to politicians, you don't care about black people because there's black people being shot. I don't think that that's fair. I think that, and I definitely don't think it's fair to blame one group of people for the demise of other individuals. I think it's multi-layered and it's very complex. So I think it's important to see how the dynamics of it.
Hmm.
You know, I don't think it's fair to put on only politicians are to blame for this. You know, I just see it as multifaceted. So I don't
Right.
know about that.
Well, I'm not gonna say that they are or not. I'm just gonna say, how come no white people are getting shot like that? I'm just trying to understand that. Like, how come or if you go to black neighborhoods where a lot of black people in Chicago are very angry because they're putting all the illegal immigrants that are coming to the city, they're putting a big chunk of them into
Mhm.
black neighborhoods, and
They are.
black people are very upset. They're saying, wait a minute, we
They
can't.
should be upset
You
by
know,
that.
so
Mhm.
I'm not sitting here. I never told anybody who to vote
The,
for. I'm just saying you ain't gonna tell me who to vote for. You're not going. You not. I'm not a follower. I'm not a person who does something just because every other Negro's doing it, or half the, or because they've historically gotten our vote. That doesn't mean they earn it. Yeah, I voted Democrat before, but I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it until you show me why. And I'm telling you, I will
so
say
what would
this.
somebody have to
Or what?
what would what would somebody have to tell you, show you for you to what do you need to hear? I'm just curious. What do you need to hear for someone to say, "Okay, I will vote for you." What is it that you need to
A
hear?
big chunk of it would be one major statistic that is indicative of quality of life in multiple areas, and that is if you look at black wealth and how we rank relative to other communities,
Okay.
white people, Asian people, Jewish people, immigrants, black people have been at the bottom of the list. We've been ranked
Always.
dead last in wealth
Mhm.
for 55 years, like longer than that, even before all the civil rights and everything else. There's not. I challenge people and I say, show me one political party that has pushed black people from, say, dead last to second to last. That would
Mhm.
be progress, or third to last. There is none.
Okay.
So that to me, if I saw a serious, meaningful, impactful Black Wealth Initiative, not just something superficial, then yeah,
Mhm.
something that's as serious as like the billions of dollars they're giving to Israel, or the billions that they're putting into making microchips. They were giving major cities. Major cities have been boosted
Uh-huh.
when the Biden administration wrote multi-billion-dollar checks on the CHIPS Act. Like Syracuse was really ecstatic because they got a whole revitalization from that CHIPS Act money. The Israelis are able to buy nuclear weapons, or not nuclear weapons. I would assume they have nukes, but whatever weapons they're buying, they're able to buy the best bombs and fighters and everything because they're getting so
Mhm.
much money. The
Well,
Ukrainians,
we have an interest in foreign affairs,
I
right?
get it. I
So
totally get
that's
it.
part of it.
I totally get it,
So
but
okay.
most black people
Mhm.
don't care about Ukrainians, and it's not to say they don't deserve support from somebody. But if you got enough wealth, pay attention now. I want everybody to consider this. If they have enough resources and political will to literally carry an entire nation, they're carrying Ukraine in this war with
Mhm.
Russia. They're carrying Israel in their war with the Palestinians. Then can't you carry the black community,
So you're
who
talking.
served you more than anybody? We've given more than anybody in this country. So I'm just not interested in it.
Okay, so you're talking about reparations. So we're the only group of individuals in this country who haven't received reparations. All the other groups that have been wronged by this country has received reparations. We're the only one left. So okay, so you're talking about no reparations, no vote. That's what it
Um,
sounds like.
I'm not saying no reparations, no vote. I'm saying no wealth, no vote. If you can't show me in a meaningful way that
Hmm.
you are truly in, like true integration
Hmm.
is where you're integrating us into the wealth. They
Okay.
integrated us in a way that was problematic and inappropriate. It's like if I say I want you to move into my house, and
Uh-huh.
you think that we're gonna move into the house, we're gonna share equity in the house. I'm gonna own half, you're gonna own half. We're gonna both have access to every part of the house. But I say no. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna own the house, and you're gonna live in the basement, and you're gonna work for me. And if you don't do your job,
Hmm.
then I'm going to kick you out of the house. That's what
Okay.
integration was.
So
That
the.
so we never. Let
Hmm.
me say.
Okay, go ahead.
We need true integration. Black people, unfortunately, this is part of that divide that's happening. A lot of people, and I'm not disrespecting anybody who's voting for Kamala. I get it. I understand. If you're excited about a female president who is, at least half Jamaican. That's what she is. She's not African American. I think that's an important distinction. But she's half Jamaican. That's fine. I get that, but if you ask most people, like the Divine Nine and stuff like that, while they're supporting her, it's a power play. It's for the same reasons that people
Hmm.
from Harvard supported Elena Kagan. The Harvard people wanted to have access to the halls of power. So the Divine Nine is no different, and I respect that. But the problem that you have is that you're leaving behind the masses. There are people in hoods who are saying, "Wait a minute, these Democrats are running my city, my district, and we're not getting what we need." But yet, whenever anybody else needs something, they're getting what they want. So I
Yeah,
think that's what
I
people
mean,
are upset about.
that's legitimate. So the first thing you were saying is you were mentioning foreign affairs, and so the United States is very much interested in what's happening abroad, right? So what you're saying is that you're more of a nationalist. You're like, forget about what's going on abroad. I'm gonna be here. Let's focus on what's right here in this country.
I think
Is that what you're
well,
saying?
it's not to say that I don't care about what's happening abroad. I think
Uh-huh.
international affairs is very important,
Okay.
but I do believe you take care of home before you start taking care of everybody else. And I
Okay.
think that's what globalism has done to, which has really been unfair to
Well, they're making those
everyone in the
moves.
working class.
Okay, they're making those moves abroad because they feel like that's the best thing they could do for home as well. So
But
you
that's
do
what
have to think about. I
well,
mean, it's a complex thing, right?
it's complex, but that's
Yeah.
but that's globalism in a nutshell.
Right. So that's why I
If you
called you
look
a
at right, if
nationalist.
you look at things like
Hmm.
NAFTA, for example,
Yeah.
NAFTA certainly improved the U.S. economy. It increased our GDP 100%. But the problem
It
is
got rid of
it
jobs.
got it got richer people. Rich people
Hmm.
got richer. Poor people did not benefit really from NAFTA.
No, they didn't. As a
Right.
matter of fact, poor people got worse because there went the whole city of Gary, Indiana for the most part. The
Yeah.
yeah, because we had US Steel and everybody worked, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
So just because, and believe me, I understand economics. My PhD's in finance, and I can tell you
Right.
that yeah, NAFTA and globalism always increases gross domestic product.
Hmm. And that was
It
Bill Clinton,
it
right? Bill
increases, yeah,
Clinton
yeah,
did
it
the whole
increases
NAFTA,
wealth.
right?
But if you increase wealth without making sure you incorporate workers in
Hmm.
that wealth increase,
Hmm.
then what happens is you create oppression. So basically, working class people have been getting screwed by this country
Yeah,
for
for
about 40 or
sure.
50 years at least, since the 1960s, really.
Uh-huh.
And it's and that you can't put all that on the Democrats. You put it on the Democrats and the Republicans because they're all controlled by the same wealthy donors and corporations.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where I was going. And I think what's fascinating is that the way the Democrats placate to black people is the same way the Republican Party and Donald Trump, he's placating to the
Mm-mm,
white men who are, connecting with him, and
true.
they're believing that he's going to do. So what I think is there will be a backlash. There's
Yeah.
going to be another black backlash because just think about it. It is about the elite, the global elite
Yeah,
too.
well, you know what's interesting though is
Hmm.
that Donald Trump doesn't just resonate with white men.
Yeah,
I know
that's
a
what I
lot. I
mean.
know a lot of brothers
Right.
who like Donald Trump because they don't like the way the Democratic Party seems to operate under the assumption that the black community is led completely by its women. And a lot of men are rebelling against that. A lot of men feel since
Hmm.
the Biden crime bill, war on drugs, mass incarceration, the black male has been pulled out of the equation. So a lot of men are rebelling. A lot of men are like, no, we're not down for all this LGBT. We're not down for all this trans stuff. We're not
What
down
what
for all
difference
this
does it make?
we're
I
not
don't know.
down. We respect your right to choose, but we're not interested. I'm not interested in you choosing to abort my baby without my permission. And I'm not saying that's wrong or right. I'm saying that's what men are feeling. So a lot of men are like, I don't even care if Trump likes black people or not. I don't need him to love me. But I understand that if this man has policies that align with my values, then I'm gonna just stick with that. And I
Well, what are his policies that align with your values?
mine.
I
Oh,
mean, you're
well,
talking about yourself,
no, well,
right? I
actually,
know you are.
no, because I'm not voting for Trump. I'm
Well,
not voting for anybody.
these are some things that
Well,
you've said personally.
I'm not voting for either party because I'm voting for black people.
Hmm.
That's it. Even if black, I'm voting.
Okay.
I want to vote for black people, even for the black people that are not voting for themselves.
Yeah, so that's really interesting because I really do think that you have a point. So it's almost like, as black people, we're not coming to the Democratic Party or any other party as a strong unit like how other groups have done. It's almost like we're in such a position where we really are not strong enough as a people to really have leverage. You
Mm.
know what I mean? It's just like, why should they pay attention to what we want and what we need? Because we don't have any leverage. We're going to vote for them anyway.
Why don't
Do you know
white?
what I mean?
Well, the thing about leverage, and you and
We're
actually,
not strong enough.
well,
We ain't donating enough money.
right.
We don't have the
Right.
base,
So, right. So
right?
let me tell you about leverage, though.
Yeah.
There's books on negotiation. I read a whole book on negotiation. I was really fascinated with it. It actually connects to what we saw today when we saw the Egyptian men
Oh, yeah.
and how hard they negotiate to sell things to you. Um, when I negotiated with them, there were ways you establish leverage. The way I established leverage with them was through little things like having a credible threat, like the option to walk away. Like when I told that guy, "Hey, I gotta go talk to my wife." Every time I said I gotta talk to my wife, what did he do? He kept lowering the price. He kept making another. He kept compromising.
Uh huh.
At first he wasn't budging. Then when I said, "Oh well, I gotta go. I'm gonna go talk to my wife," well then he started really working with me, right? And what that is, and the
He
point
did
that
not want you to go talk to your wife.
he did not. He
That's
did
so
not. He did
funny.
not. He did not want me to hear from anybody who was going to make me have any sort of critical processing about this purchase.
Exactly.
He wanted to make sure that he isolated me from you because he knew that you would be the detractor from my decision making. So that's what they do, I think, with emotional voters. They don't want them to hear from black intellectuals who might say,
They
"Hey,
don't.
maybe this isn't the best move for us." They don't want the sister to hear from the men in her house who say, "Hey, we were really hurt by mass incarceration. We're kind of mad at the Democratic Party." They don't want them to hear from anybody who's going to tell. They don't want them to hear from me when I say, "Hey, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but let me just tell you. Let's really look at this thing." So ultimately, when you talk about having leverage, we don't have leverage for one simple reason: we give all of our leverage away.
Yeah, that's what I
We give it
mean.
all away. When
Hmm.
you commit, when you commit to something without asking for anything, you give
Hmm.
away all your leverage. So I want to ask you, what did black people ask for before we agreed to run up behind some politician offering our vote? I don't. That strategy has never worked for us, and it's not a winning one.
Or if when we actually voted for you because we thought that we're putting our trust in you with our vote, and then 4 years go by and where's the results? Why, yet again, 4 years later, why should we put our trust in you again? So I
Mm,
mean, I do think that that's like show and tell. Show me something.
mm,
What have you done for me lately? To
mm-hmm.
quote Janet Jackson.
Right, right.
But
So,
I really think okay, so here's the thing, like I think that okay, so these particular black men who you are referring to, I think that the issue is that I don't want to see more of a divide between black men and black women just because there's black women in charge. I don't think it needs to be dealt with in such hostility because what we did see today was Hatshepsut. Y'all know about her? I know I'm messing her name up, but we saw her today.
the queen, yeah,
She was the very first queen of
slay
Egypt. She
queen.
slayed. She slayed. She, in a sense, she was the very first feminist ever known in history, and she was running Egypt. And it was a time where it was the most peaceful. That's my understanding. It's the most peaceful in the country. It was the time when she had strong military power. You know, things were running very well because a black woman was in charge. So I mean that's just something to kind of think about. And it wasn't because it was tough for her. And that resonated with me. You
Mm,
know, her story resonated with me. She had to actually dress up as a man sometimes so that she can get the respect that she needed to run that country. And she knew what she was doing. Everybody else, there's some other people around her didn't know quite what
mm,
she was doing. This is according to our Egyptologist and some of the things that I've read.
mm.
So, I mean, you should see her temple. It is beautiful. Do you have pictures of that on here?
Probably, but I'll
I
pull up.
don't know.
Let me see what I can
See,
find.
it's funny
But
that
by
you
the way,
skipped those pictures.
no, I didn't. I didn't skip them. I put some random pictures
It
up there.
can't be a divide
Come on now,
here.
don't be
Well,
like some.
subconsciously,
Don't
why
be.
did you skip
Let's not do
the
the.
most powerful
I
woman in the world?
here are pictures from the temples, lady. Chill
Okay.
out.
You got Hatshepsut? You don't have her.
I don't even
You
know
didn't
which.
even load
I don't know
her.
which. Is that her temple?
Let me see.
That's it right there.
Is that it?
Yes.
Oh, yes, yes, that's
So
it.
calm
Okay, here
down.
I
Good
go.
lord.
I'm calming down because you see the first layer, the first one, that is Earth. That is Earth. That is the us. The second floor is the afterlife, and the third floor is her ascending up to the position of a goddess. I mean, that's just beautiful.
I think I have no problem with women leading.
And they would not
There
let
are
her into the.
let's be okay. So let's be clear about that then, right? So if we're talking about women leading, and by the way, please hit the thumbs up button, everybody. I want to just mention to you, if you're listening to in Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. This is my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. If y'all could take a moment, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, Dr. Alicia is a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work, and I'm a finance professor, and so we like to have intelligent conversations about things happening in the Black community. If you'd like to get a free e-copy of my book, Financial Lovemaking, you can go to boyceandalicia.com. We also have a Black Love Challenge. We both believe in Black love, and so if you are interested in any of the things we have going on, feel free to go to boyceandalicia.com. You can also text the word love to 87948, and Alicia will send you some free stuff as well. Text the word love to 87948. All right, so here's what I want to say about that. Look, I'm not saying that I've never been a person who was threatened by the idea of a woman leading. I think that's fine. The question becomes, if you want to swing it back to the political thing, the question is, okay, which women are considered qualified to lead and which ones are not? Because I was telling you today about how Angela Stanton King was making some very strong statements about the Black
Oh,
community and why the Black community was tired of the Democratic Party, right? And so the question becomes to me, like, why is it that when there are women who lead, who say the things that the Democrats want to hear, it's like, go queen, get it, girl, what, slay queen. But then when a Black female Republican shows up and says some things like, they're aborting too many Black babies, or shows up and says we need to rebuild our families, or we need Black wealth, or our communities have been decimated, it's suddenly like, oh, you need to shut up. You need to
wait,
just shut up.
no one's told her to shut
Well,
up.
no, but that's what the thing. That's the thing. Like whenever a Black woman stands next to a Democrat, she's celebrated. But when a Black woman stands next to a Republican, she tends to get decimated by a segment.
Wait, hold on a second. I do not think that women who vote Democrat are against the Black family. You know what I mean? I don't think that Black women who are voting Democrat are against the
Of
Black
course not.
family.
Why would I say?
Okay,
Why would you think that?
so that's just my comment to Angela Stanton King. I don't know
No,
about her.
she's never said
So
that.
I don't think that, you know what I mean? We can't assume that because she's a Republican, people who aren't.
Actually, she's not Republican.
Okay,
She
you just
supported.
said that.
She was pardoned by Donald Trump, so she has a preference for Trump, but she supports Kennedy. Because Kennedy helped her.
Oh,
Kennedy has helped her support Angie's House. Angie's House is this facility she created for mothers having children that needed help.
okay.
She said all these people want to talk about whether you should abort your kid, put it up for adoption, and all this other stuff, but nobody will actually pull money out to help these mothers when they're having giving birth to the kids, and
Yeah,
she does
because
that.
I don't think it should be done by aid in kind. I think it should be done by policy.
I think she would done by all that.
Okay, all of that I think would be great. But I think like that helps the 12 women who are in her facility, right? Or whoever, whatever that's affected by her agency. But I'm talking about more big global changes, you know, policies that support like affordable childcare would be really nice. If you want to stop abortion, how about we have affordable childcare? How about we give women when they have their baby, how about we give them like other developed nations, third, other developed nations, how about we have maternity leave, paid maternity leave? That will definitely help. I mean, there's lots of things and policies if you're really interested in the health and wealth and atmosphere of a child. Why don't you make economics better? Like, why don't you make things better for parents? And that will, to me, that will eliminate abortion.
Well, you know what?
That's the best thing to do.
I do agree with you, but I also think that generally speaking, what I have seen is that the communities that tend to do well are not communities that rely solely on government policy as their path to ascension.
But we're
They
talking about
they have
politics
right,
right
right.
now. Right now, we're talking
Well, we
about
talk right, and
politics.
politics isn't just what the government's doing. Politics are what's happening. Your family has politics. communities have politics. So I think at the same time, we can't talk about what's happening to black people without talking about black people, without talking about the culture that we embrace, without talking about the ideas that we have been led to believe in that are leading to our demise. So,
Yeah, but
so
no one is saying you need to get an abortion. People are just saying you need to have the option to decide what you want to do with your body and what you want to do.
but it's,
So that's
but
what
if it's
I'm
my
just
if
listening
it's
to.
but if it's my baby, it's not just her body. It's
Okay, maybe it's
or
both
whoever
parents have decided. Let's just say both parents have
right,
decided we took precautions. We we had family planning and this is what's happened. Your people
right.
conception happens all the time, but the thing is that I think the issue is just should the government decide? Should the government regulate a person's body? That's what it is. I think
I
that's
don't
the
think it's
issue.
regular. But if the baby has a penis, you don't have a penis. So how's that all your body? It's the baby's body.
Right. But should the point is don't be mincing words with me, boys. I'm saying like should the government step in and say, no, we're taking that choice away from you? Or should the government say, you know what? You do what you feel is best for you. You do what you feel is
Yeah, then
best for
so
you.
if you have a 4-year-old, you should be able to just murder your 4-year-old
That's not what they're
because that's
saying,
government
boys.
intervention.
That's not
I'm
what they're
well,
saying.
we don't agree on that. I believe fathers deserve rights. I don't think
Okay,
I don't
give
think
the
that there's
fathers
I don't
rights.
think
But
that
what
there's
if the
I
family comes together and says
I get it, but I don't think that there is much empathy for the pain that and the trauma that men feel when someone aborts their child
okay.
without his consent, without his participation. I'm not
Why
saying
are you
I understand.
assuming you're assuming that abortions are happening and the father is against it? Like you're
Well,
projecting this scenario.
I
Hold
know it
on.
happens. I've
You're
seen
kind
it,
of hold on a
but I've
second.
seen it happen.
You're projecting this narrative
No, I
onto
have seen it.
okay.
This is not something I'm
We've
making up, babe. This is something I have seen. I
oh,
have seen men devastated. Like I've seen.
okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm saying is that you're this is the scenario that you're projecting onto what's happening with abortion. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. I'm just
Mhm.
saying, where should the choice lie? Where should the choice be? Should it be two people making the choice or should the government make that choice? I think
Um.
that's what it is. And
Yeah.
at what point, and then it gets in, even down into the point is it's a glob of cells. At one point, should it be, at what point, first trimester, second trimester, at what point should that decision be made?
Um. That part is complex, right?
Yeah, it's very
And I'm gonna
complex,
say
right?
this: I don't feel strongly enough on that topic to really feel like I have a right to tell anybody what to do in their situation. But at the same time,
So are you for
I I
choice?
will
Do you
say
think it
this.
should be
Let
choice?
me tell you the truth. Let me tell you the truth. I am biased when it comes to that topic because they told my mother to get rid of me.
Okay, so this
Right.
is you.
So yes, this is a personal experience, and it
Okay.
happens to millions of kids. Millions of little black babies don't exist. And think about this is what's interesting too. And let's talk about it in this way too, because I think this is important. They Bill Gates and people like that were going all around the world telling African women and women in other countries don't have babies, either use the birth control or abort the child because they felt that the population control was an issue. Anybody remember that? How many of y'all remember that when they were literally making it a big
That
campaign?
was extremely
We
disturbing.
have to go. And I went to South Africa and I've never seen so many ads for terminations in my life. I couldn't believe it. I saw so many. I went down the street and all they had, and it was only in the black neighborhoods. I didn't see it in the white neighborhoods. But in the black neighborhoods, all they had was just ads for terminating your baby. Like call
Yeah.
this number, call this number, call this number, call this number. And so anyway, it's interesting because now it's
Hmm.
totally reversed. Now a lot of countries are dealing with a population decline.
Hmm.
China had the one child rule for a long time. Now they can't get people to have enough babies.
Well, hold on, they can't get the right people to have enough babies. Because let me tell you something. Say what you want, but we know that 60 to 70% of all babies born in United States are non-white.
yeah, but it ain't about the right babies though. It's about just babies, period. Like
So the thing
people,
is that the group of people who are more likely to have an abortion are not black people.
right.
They're
Well,
white people.
I don't know. However, let me just say
Okay,
this. Let
go
me say
ahead.
this. I know in China they're now incentivizing people to have kids. Japan is trying to get people to have kids. Europe is trying to get people to have kids. Africa is the only continent that doesn't really have that issue because a lot of
Because they're
Africa, well,
reproducing at a high
well,
level anyway.
A lot of Africans didn't listen when Gates, because to me, it's like we take so many cues from white people, and it drives me crazy. And it's like we can't listen to ourselves, if you, or at least listen to yourself, listen to God, listen to something. But Massa ain't gonna give you good advice. Massa is not going to give you a blueprint for improving your life. This has been proven over and over again. So don't come to me talking about what the politicians are saying. Don't come to me talking about what the media is saying. Don't come to me talking about what the local radio station that told you is the culture. What BET said. This is the culture.
Okay, you're
This
moving
is
into culture now.
well.
I get it.
It's all connected in the sense that I believe that the solution
Hmm.
is. You're right. It is policy, but my question is, what is your policy as a human being? What is your policy as a family? Those are the policies that matter. In our household, the policies were things related to personal responsibility. It was policy related to hard work. It was a policy related to get a damn education. It was a policy related to don't go out here run around making babies and that you ain't gonna take care of. It was a policy related to build your
Hmm.
wealth and save your money. It was a policy related to make good decisions in your life, and that
Hmm.
policy has worked. That the thing is, you can't show me a single black person anywhere who doesn't have a good life policy who isn't doing well under a Democrat administration or Republican
So
administration.
it doesn't really matter, which is,
I'm
sort
not
of my point too. No, you're right. Please, I'm not against
Well,
you.
I
I
think
agree with
no.
you.
I think no, no. But see, when
I
you said
want
it
you to
doesn't
hear
matter,
that.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
I'm saying that it goes back to something we learned in finance. In finance, you have what you call systematic variables, and then you have what they call idiosyncratic variables.
Right,
That's
right.
how we study stock prices. We look at what is it specifically idiosyncratic, what is specifically going on with that company that changes the stock price, and what's happening systematically. So, like the stock market crash this week was a systematic phenomenon. So the system matters. So, like, politics matters, government matters for sure. But what matters more is the idiosyncratic part. When we measured in stock prices, what drives the price the most, the systematic factors or the idiosyncratic? The idiosyncratic tended to dominate. So
Well,
it's the same. I think the same thing is true with life.
okay, let me just say, I want to bring it back to this abortion issue. Is that even though when abortion was legal, the majority of abortions were done by white people. Black people were not getting abortions. Yeah, you can go to Africa and you can see this agenda happening, but the population growth in Africa is tremendous. And that's a fact. Worldwide, white people are a minority. Worldwide, white people are a minority. And they continue to be more of a minority. They're shrunk down. Their numbers and percentages are are getting smaller and smaller, and the number of non-white people is growing tremendously.
Hmm.
So I mean, those are facts. So
Okay.
that's a problem. That's a problem. Agenda, but I don't think it's working.
Well, that you might be right. So
I just don't think it's
let's move
working.
on. Let's move on.
Okay.
All right. So by the way, everybody, I want to say hello. You listen to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. This is my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, and on Pillow Talk, as you can see, we don't always agree, but we get on here and we try to have intelligent conversations about things happening in the Black community. And Dr. Alicia is a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. She's seen clients on an individual and collective basis, families, etc., individuals for a long time, many, many years. So if you'd like to learn more about what Dr. Alicia does or schedule an appointment, feel free to go to coachingwithdralicia.com. That's coachingwithdralicia.com. And I want to remind everybody that if you're into solving our problems, we have enough experts in our community to fix our issues. And as you can tell, I'm a big believer in Black self-determination. I believe that we can do it. Right now, we're on a group trip with intelligent Black people in Egypt, where we're all spending time together. And it's great to be around smart Black folks that want to do better for the community. We are going to have the All Black National Convention. That's another big event that we have every year. It's a great experience. A lot of people show up. Brother Nuri Muhammad is going to be one of our speakers, as well as Lamar Tyler, the Black millionaire maker. We're going to have probably about 3 or 4 dozen experts from different backgrounds, everything from health, relationships, wealth building, people like Constance Carter, who built the largest black real estate firm in California, and people like that. So if you're interested in building for your community, if you like a family healthy atmosphere, bring your kids, bring your spouse, bring your loved ones. We're going to meet in Chicago, October 25th through the 27th. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. Now let's circle back. I want to ask you, babe, about this comment. So Willie Brown, and I want to know what y'all think about this. So Willie Brown, not Willie, I said I'm sorry, Judge Joe Brown, because there's another Brown that's going to come up in a minute. But Judge Joe Brown seemed to feel that Kamala didn't really earn her spot in the halls of power. He feels like she slept her way to the top, and there's a well documented relationship that Kamala had back in the day. I don't know, is that Kamala in the picture? I can't tell. With Willie Brown, who's the former mayor of San Francisco, and Judge Joe Brown seemed to. I mean, he used some pretty harsh language that basically she was not the best human being, and that she did not earn her right to be where she is. Um, do y'all think that was out of bounds? Do you think that it was inappropriate for him to make that remark, or what do you
Let me
think,
tell
babe?
I don't think Judge Joe Brown really cares. I think he is all about telling the truth.
Mm,
That's that's the impression I got. Remember we were in Atlanta and we sat with Judge Joe Brown, and he just was just
mm.
spilling out. It was just pouring out of him.
Oh,
I
remember
think
remember
he
the
was
story you
just
told about Barack Obama?
it's some of the stories probably should not be repeated on here.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
maybe he's talked about it publicly. I don't know, but whew,
he's got a lot
I
of
don't
interesting
think
things to say.
I don't think he has a dishonest bone in his body, honestly. It just really it just comes on out of him. It just spews on out of him the stuff he's seen.
Mm.
I feel like it's
Okay.
true.
So let me just say this.
Yeah.
I did a little reading about Kamala's career
Oh,
and
okay.
what happened while she was working with Willie Brown. And I do remember that before she started dating him, and this has been confirmed, they did have a relationship. Um, she was like an assistant district or deputy district attorney or something,
Oh, that's
which
a big
really
deal. That's a big deal.
kind of, but not.
Really?
It's not a like. Well, I was engaged to an assistant district attorney at one point who was kind of like a deputy,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So I'm not
It's a
gonna
lot of
say
hard work, right?
it's hard work.
Yeah.
You have to be smart. Um, but it's not a powerful position relative to the power in the city, right? And I think that she then got. I know there were two promotions that Willie gave her. I don't have them in front of me, but one of them, she was making quite a bit of money, about almost $100,000 a year, and then she resigned that position 6 months later, and Willie helped her get another position. And basically,
What position was it?
it was like a commissioner of something. I don't remember.
So she's strategic.
Well, she definitely leveraged that relationship
Yeah.
to propel herself forward. And there are some people who feel like that invalidates her. Now, one point that someone made, which I can't disagree with, is that they said, "Well, why don't you make the same comment about Trump?" It is true. Trump had a wealthy father,
Hmm.
Fred Trump, who gave him a lot of money when he was young. And then, really, let's just be quite frank. I believe Kamala and Trump both benefit from white privilege. I think Kamala, if she had an African American husband, I don't even think she'd be considered for the vice presidency. I really don't
Well,
believe that.
yeah, and she does have a Jewish husband, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
What's his name? Dougie Douglas.
I don't know his name. I don't. That's terrible, but I don't remember his name.
Yes, Doug.
Harris.
I don't.
His last
I
name is
don't.
Harris,
I don't
right?
think it's Harris though.
Wouldn't it have to be if they're married to
No,
each
it's
other?
what's Kamala's husband's
I don't
name?
know.
It's Doug.
Somebody will
I
find.
can't.
Somebody will type it in
Somebody
the
put his
chat.
name in here. Okay.
That's bad. We don't remember his
She
name.
said, "Boys, D Square says she's strategic." Yeah, well, and
She is strategic.
that's
Aren't
strategic.
all the presidents? We could definitely be like, "Ooh, that was strategic. That was
Mhm.
strategic." Every single one of them.
Doug Emhoff, that's his name.
Imhoff is his name.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, where did she get the name Harris from her own father?
I think her father's name is Donald Harris.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, look at that. She's very strategic, and people are calling her out on it
Um,
as if she's unique in some way.
yeah, I mean, I
She's
think.
not
Well,
unique.
one thing I'll say is that when someone brought up and someone said, "Well, why don't you make the same remarks about Trump?" that you make about Democrats, and I said, well, the one big difference, and not to say Trump is a great guy. I've never really liked this guy very much, but I said when the Republicans start getting 90% of the black vote, then I'll be talking about them too. You know, what people don't understand about politics, and this is something people have to learn and kind of educate themselves on, is the people that you vote for are the ones who actually owe you. It's not the people who you didn't vote for. If you did not vote for a Republican, then they don't really owe you the way they owe their voters. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when someone says, "Well, why don't you talk about the Republicans the way you talk about the Democrats?" I would say, "Well, because black people don't really vote for the Republicans like that. So why would I be talking about a party that we don't even support?"
Well,
You
here's
know,
the I
let me finish
okay.
this analogy. It's almost like if somebody says, "Well, give me my paycheck. I did 40 hours of work for you. You owe me $1,000."
Mm-hmm.
And they say, "Well, why are you harassing me for the money? Go ask the guy down the street for the $1,000. Why aren't you harassing him like you're harassing me?" And it's like, well, because I didn't work for him. I worked for you. You owe me. He does not owe me anything. And I think that's the interesting thing. That really shows a type of political immaturity that I think we have to work past as black people.
Yeah, that's interesting because I think that's very fascinating because the presidency, that job in and of itself, whether we voted for that particular president or not, they still work for us.
They do.
You know what I mean? It's not like, I mean, we have to really pay attention to these things because, yeah, of course, they have to adhere to the policies in which they campaigned on. They campaigned on a platform. Here's their platform that they're campaigning on. They think in their mind that everybody in the whole country is going to benefit from this platform, whether they vote for them or not. They think that they have the answers to push the United States of America forward in a way based on their vision. And this is their platform and their policies. So we got two different platforms. You vote for one platform, it's like a meal plan. You go for meal plan A, meal plan B. No matter which meal plan gets pushed forward, all of us are eating that meal plan A. Even though I voted for meal plan B, I voted for the steak instead of the chicken, but the chicken won out. I'm still gonna eat chicken. You know what I mean? It's not like
Mm.
I'm gonna starve because I voted for Plan B. Do you see my scenario?
I do get that. I get
Okay.
it.
All right.
Whatever party wins, they're supposed to govern the entire United States.
Whether we voted
But
for them or not.
but I do think about the reality of politics is
Hmm.
that the way politics works is it does operate on quid pro quo, something for something.
Well, that's
If
terrible.
you don't support me
Yeah.
and I get in power, I'm going to support the people first who helped me get there. I can't. That's natural. You can't do
Well,
things for people. I mean, it doesn't mean that those people don't matter. It doesn't mean they should get ignored or anything like that. It just means that when black people are saying that we expect we that we love the Democrats because they give us more than the Republicans do. I kind of think that that's such a low bar for how you view your political participation. I would say that if both options are unacceptable, then you can reject both options. And to me, that's the epitome of freedom. I just really think whenever somebody responds to a lack of adequacy on the Democrats' part, to by simply pointing to the fact that the Republicans are doing less, that to me speaks to a low self-esteem. You know, it kind of just says, okay, so the bar's super low. So you're basically willing to eat crap if the crap tastes better than the poison crap. You know, and I'm like, no, I say we go on a diet. I'm okay with going on a diet.
you
You
think
know,
you think like a diet, like non-participation. Let's
absolutely.
the biggest thing that Black people can do as a whole, if we were ever to get, and we know that's not going to happen, if we were to get together and just not show up to the, we just choose not to participate in this whole thing. Do you think then we'd have the leverage? People would start paying attention to us,
Um, yeah,
take us seriously.
yeah. If they see a massive block of 40 million people that could be voting for them who are
We
refusing not
decided
to.
not to.
Yeah, yeah. I think, like, think about it. Look at how the Republicans have started to engage the black community more now that they're seeing black people who are willing to consider jumping over to their side. The
Uh-huh.
Republicans used to not even talk to the black community, but when they started realizing, hey, wait a minute, not only are these votes that
We
not
can manipulate them too, like the way the
right, right.
Democrats manipulated
Right.
them.
It's all manipulation, right? It's all manipulation, right? And that speaks
Oh,
to another conversation.
yeah.
But I think at the same time, yeah, politicians they fight for votes that they. It's really simple negotiation. Anybody who wants to just understand it, go read a book on negotiation. It's like when I was negotiating with the guy. and the guys in Egypt. And when I told the guy, like, I'm walking away, I'm not participating anymore because this price is too high. He literally kept dropping the price over and over and over again because he knew that I had something that black people never present in politics, which is a credible threat. It is called
To
a
walk
it
away.
is literally in political science theory, they call this a credible threat. A credible threat means that you have in a credible way communicated, like, look, I'll get up and I'll flip over the table and walk away from all of this. I have options. I always talk to students about stock options. If you have options, you win.
Hmm.
And the problem is that our people, we act like we have no options, which makes you a sucker. That makes you a punk. That makes you easily manipulated. Any pimps take advantage of people that don't have options.
Hmm.
They can't exploit people that have options. So
So
that's the
when you
problem.
know that you're getting pimped,
Hmm.
you can see it for what it is, and then you could just say, "Hey, what am I getting out of it for real?"
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think to me, black first also can mean you first, right? So I think that when you ask yourself, okay, what am I getting out of
Hmm.
this? What am I the people that I care about getting out of this? And if you can't answer that question in an honest way, that probably means your strategy is incorrect, right? And I know that one of the problems that we're faced with as black people is that something is missing. So or B, we're not delivering the way that we should. Because
Hmm.
when your community's weak, your community's weak.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Politicians look at the they look at the bottom line in a lot of ways.
Mm,
So I think
hmm
I'm leaning more on the fact that we need to be stronger as a unit.
we could,
I am leaning on that.
then at the same time, I think that you can have different units.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think all black people are the same. I don't think all black people have to be Democrats or. Oh, somebody says what's happening with the sound. Can
Oh,
y'all
the
hear us?
sound is
Okay,
going.
give us a yes if you can hear us. Okay, and I'm gonna check the sound real quick. So give me a quick yes. Don't go anywhere. Hold on. I'm gonna check this Wi-Fi and see if because some we may have okay.
Oh, did they ask you?
I don't see it. Yeah, hold on.
Oh,
Okay, so y'all can
they
still
say
hear us.
yes. Okay. We're just mumbling over here.
Okay, all right, got it. Okay, let's
Mm.
see. Someone says, "Who's the dude talking?" Credentials. Okay, well that's a good segue. All right. So by the way, you're listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm a finance professor. My PhD is in finance. My wife is Dr. Alicia Watkins, who has a PhD in social work, and she's a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. So this is what we do. We like to have intelligent conversations about things happening in our community, but we also like to have fun. So give me a quick yes if you can hear us. Tawana shit says it's a little choppy. Um, is it okay? Let us know if you guys can hear us. Okay. All right. So and by the way, if you want to join us, for those of you that are in Money in the Morning, in my morning financial class, I do a class every single morning. For those of you that are interested in the art of economic elevation, if you want to get your money right, if you want to build generational wealth for your family, if you want to be financially secure and understand what financial security looks like, I teach a class to thousands and thousands of people every morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. It's 100% free. This week, I am taking a week off because I'm traveling through Egypt with a group of intelligent Black people, so we can learn about our roots and learn that our history started before slavery. But if you'd like to join us for Money in the Morning, feel free just to pull out your phone, text the word morning to 87948. Text morning to 87948. And I guarantee you, you will love Money in the Morning. You will learn a lot about economics. And what I do is I like to show you how your finances links to your life, how money flows through everything in our society, how money moves decisions that you make, how money affects your psychology. It's really a money mindset financial psychology class. I wrote my dissertation on financial psychology. If you want to look at my background, I got my PhD at the Ohio State University. My wife went to the Florida State University.
It's not the
When you
Florida
graduate,
State.
did they say the? Did your dean say the Florida State, or they just
No,
say?
it's just Florida State.
Well, we're
There's
the
no
we're
the.
we're we're the Ohio State.
I know it's official the. Yes. Yes, I understand that.
Okay, anyway, let me be quiet. All right, so text the word morning to 87948 and you can join class. Again, I'm taking a few days off because of this trip, but we're gonna get started up next week and we do this 7 days a week.
How you
And
feel
it's
taking time off?
how do I feel?
Yeah.
I like it. It's
Really?
nice. Yeah, it's different. I haven't taken a vacation for like 15 years.
I know.
Yeah,
You haven't.
yeah. So
When
yeah,
we went to Baganera Island, you took a little bit of a vacation.
I did. Well, there was no Wi-Fi.
There
I
was
had
no
to.
Wi-Fi.
I had to. Yeah, yeah. So by the way,
Okay.
let's show y'all some pictures. So we went to King Tut's tomb today, and we also saw the Queen,
The
Alicia's
first
inspiration.
queen, yes.
She was a great
She didn't take no mess from no
was a
man.
great. No, that's not true. Stop that.
She didn't take no
Being a
mess.
strong woman don't mean you got to hate men. You know that. Stop
They
that.
gave her a hard time,
They
boys.
did, but that don't mean
She didn't take no mess.
so women give me a hard time, but I love black women.
She loved
But
black
y'all be
women
getting on our
too.
nerves big time. But I still love y'all.
Well, I didn't say that there was no love there. I said
Exactly.
she ruled Egypt and did a
And you
fine
and you
job.
never know. She could have been like a Brittany Griner type.
Stop. She was not a Brittany Griner. She had 3 children. Well,
Did she?
yes, boys.
Remember,
What is going on?
remember when the lady said to Brittany Griner, she said, "You're gonna be a mom,"
He's like pops.
and Brittany goes,
Pops.
"No, I'm gonna be pops." Ooh, shout out to Brittany Griner, one of the best basketball players I've ever seen. She's a very strong young man. You know, I should stop. That's
Don't
well, she
stop.
said pops. She
Stop.
said she was gonna be pops.
Boys.
She would not. Did you see? I saw her swimming, and she had her shirt off like a dude.
Has she always had a low voice? Or is
Yeah.
that something different?
Oh yeah, I've been following Brittany
Maybe I
Griner
never
since
saw
college.
I never
Brit
heard her
Brittany
speak.
Griner is like the female Shaquille O'Neal. She's very dominant as a player. She's very. I followed her in college when she was at Baylor. Anyway, we should stop. Okay, so here's
Yeah.
some more pictures. All right, so these are some more of the shots that we took.
Can I
Uh,
tell y'all it's 100 degrees outside?
oh my God, it was so hot out there. It was nighttime. It was 100 degrees at night.
I felt like my toes were gonna look like King Tut's toes. By the time I'm done, they're
I
gonna be
know.
all black and shriveled up.
Oh, by the way, those are King Tut's toes. Like those are really his
I
toes.
felt like he must have been in the heat.
Yeah, yeah.
He must have
Oh,
been
oh.
outside.
By the way, I want to mention I don't know if you are listening on Spotify, but we this podcast is also on Spotify. So if you look up the Dr. Boyce Breakdown or Boyce Watkins on Spotify, you can find the podcast there too. In case you like Spotify. So these are some of the writings on the walls. Let me just tell you, these Egyptian tombs were pretty amazing. It's really inspiring because it just reminds us of all the things that we did before white people came along and pretended like they gave us everything. You know, I
The
hate.
Greeks
Yeah, they teach us that Black history started during slavery. That you used to be slaves, and then Abraham Lincoln came along,
and saved us.
and yeah, then there's Martin Luther King. Now you're here. It's like no,
Mhm.
this. I mean, these mummies. That's King Tut's tomb, by the way. That's literally the King Tut. You know, our history goes back thousands and thousands of years. You know, and it's and Egyptian is Egypt is part of Africa. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah, when you come here, just know that they look at black people and they're like, "Oh, welcome back home." Like
Yeah.
there is no question about it. Like everybody here is like, "Yeah, this is you. This
Well,
is your
everybody we've met.
civilization."
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, when I talk to the guys that are in the caves and trying to make a couple dollars by taking pictures and stuff, they always point out the fact that we black. They're like,
They do.
the guys like, we same skin color. We got same skin color.
No,
My brother.
they do. They're like family.
Yeah,
Family. They
heck
look at
yeah.
you like
And
family.
we rode camels. So that's oh, that's my daughter Carmen on her camel. This let's see here. This is all the black people getting on an airplane. So we created a company called B1 Voyages, and we this was years in the making, and we decided to do our first trip to Egypt, and we only had 50 spots because we wanted to test out the process, and we had such a great time. We're gonna do another one. I'll let you guys know, but it's B1, be the number one voyages.com, and you can go there if you want to see where the next trip. We'll announce it at the All Black National Convention.
Okay.
That's me on a camel, holding my arms up in the air. That's a little picture trick where they make it look like you're holding up a big boulder, which everybody seems to know that camera trick. Let's see. These are some people from the group. That's one brother, Mr. Wilson. His
Yes.
daughter Fatima was here. His daughter Fatima has a PhD in cultural anthropology.
Culture anthropology.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, from Rutgers, and so he brought his daughter. A lot of people made the trip as like father daughter, mother son. I saw niece and uncle, and just a lot of family. And then my favorite is Cookie and Brian.
Cookie and Brian, boy, they
Oh
are
my
so much
gosh.
fun.
Oh, Cookie has a hell of a testimony.
She does. You know what? I hate that I couldn't dance with Cookie because I was barely waking up.
Oh yeah,
I'm
Cookie.
gonna dance with some Cookie. We did. We went down the Soul Train line together
We did.
tonight.
Oh heck yeah, the
Yeah, me
social
and
lives
Cookie.
always. Well,
Yeah.
Cookie. Yeah, well, Cookie inspired me. Because Cookie, she said she sounded like she was almost like on her deathbed, like not long
Well,
ago.
she had a health thing
And her
going
husband
on.
has some health issues, and the trip was like her inspiration. He said, if you can get past this, I'm gonna take you to Egypt.
Isn't
And
that
so
amazing?
yeah, so Cookie came up. She said thank you, and she was crying and gave me a hug, and I was crying with him, because I just had so much respect. Her husband Brian, they've been married 30 years. Brian he served as in the military, and he
Oh
also
yeah.
was on the fire department. And I talked to Brian and Cookie for the longest time. And then there's the other brother with his fiance. His daughter runs track at UCLA, and he and his fiance started a
Oh, from
business together.
California.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I don't have the brother's name in front of me. I'm bad with names, but I know faces. And then let's see, there was Mr. Williams and his daughter Fatima. They came together, and a lot of people at different ages. The youngest is 23, 24.
Mm-hmm.
We have some
I saw a
people.
lot of theripists and social workers on this
Oh
trip.
yeah,
So
like
you
the
know
young.
that's my people right
Yeah,
there.
well, there's a young sister from Brooklyn who was a therapist,
Yeah.
and we had therapy talk.
Paris.
Paris, thank you. You got to help me
Yes.
with the names. Paris
I'm
from.
bad with names too, so
Oh
it's
no,
the
that's
blind
bad.
leading the blind
That's a
with the
bad
names.
combination. Yeah, so we've had some fun. It's been a lot of interesting experiences. If you haven't been to Egypt before, I highly recommend it. That's Alicia with her camel, by the way. Because
Ugh,
yeah, camels are ugly. They're so ugly,
they
and
look
riding a camel is really
they got
strange.
attitudes.
They do, they do,
They're
they
kind of
do.
testy little things.
Yeah, but they're very friendly. But then there was the one lady whose camel, the other camel was biting her camel, and the camel
Hmm.
started bucking. That was kind of crazy. But yeah, yeah, and I gotta get the pictures of the hot air balloon ride this morning. We
Oh, that hot air balloon.
Yeah, yeah. I put some of those pictures on my Instagram. If you guys want to see them, you can go to my Instagram, which is Dr. Boyce Finance, or we also are on Instagram at Boyce and Alicia. And this is that famous Sphinx. Now, this stuff was built 3 or 4 thousand years ago, which is just unbelievable to me.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah. And that's me with my camel right there. We literally had our own camels. How crazy is that? And so there we go. That's the last. That's another one. The last
Oh,
picture.
you like that picture, don't you?
I do. Any picture
Okay.
you kissing me, that I like that. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. I'm kissing the prettiest lady in the world. Shoot. Can't tell me
Ain't you
nothing.
something?
But anyway, okay, so let's circle back on this topic. So let me mention really quickly to everybody. I know some of you have been asking me about this stock market crash. How many of you noticed that the stock market's been acting up lately? Give me a yes if you've been following the stock market. It's been kind of falling apart and going berserk. But it had a rally today. Today it went up 700 points.
What's going on?
What's happening right now is that the jobs report was a little weak, and also consumer spending is a little shaky. So the fear index is high. So when consumers stop spending, they start getting afraid.
Hmm.
That's a bad indicator for the stock market, because that means consumers are not going to keep just kind of tricking their money out the way they have been. And so which to me, I don't think you should ever do that. But in America, unfortunately, corporations have kind of brainwashed consumers to spend, spend, spend. So now people have been spending, but they're so deep in debt
The credit
that
card bills are coming back.
yeah, yeah. So now credit counseling companies are saying there's a spike in the percentage of people that are needing credit counseling. So you have
Yikes.
a twofold issue. You have a decline in consumer spending from the credit card issues and all that. And then you have a bad jobs report where the unemployment rate ticked up a little bit. So now the Fed is going to get involved by reducing interest rates. Some people are advocating for an emergency rate cut. They're actually criticizing the Fed a little bit, saying they waited too long to start lowering interest rates. I don't think that's a valid criticism. I think that they have done a decent job of managing inflation. But what you're going to see is reductions in interest rates, which means, let's say you're going to go buy a house or something soon. Maybe you wait a few months, or maybe a year or something when the interest rates are going to be lower. The other thing too is the stock market tends to have these really magnificent reversals. So if you were listening to me yesterday or the day before, I was mentioning to you that my belief is that with that market decline, that was a buying opportunity. That was a chance to buy some stuff. In fact, I have a podcast called Dr. Boyce Daily where I'll kind of give you daily updates on stock market stuff. It's on Spotify if you want to go find it. And I was basically picking out a couple companies that I thought were worth taking a look at, in light of the recent market decline. I know Nvidia's been getting spanked. I don't know if I'd still buy Nvidia. I wonder if it's still overhyped because of the whole AI thing. I think the tech stocks have just been on such a strong run that I don't know how much more they can run. But there are plenty of opportunities out here. But be really careful though, because we don't really know exactly how prolonged the downturn could be. But yeah, so there's going to be some volatility. But they're going to be buying opportunities, and if you're a long-term investor, you can kind of work your way past all that. So that's my 2 cents on that. Those of you that are in the Prime program, where we sell stock options and make money that way, I will be hitting you guys up as soon as I hit landfall back in the U.S. I'm going to organize a Prime meeting, and I'm going to show you guys which stocks I'm selling options on if you want to generate some income from that. If you guys are interested in what we do in the Prime program, selling stock options is a great way to make extra money. Feel free to go to drboyceprime.com. That's drboyceprime.com. Okay, babe. So let's circle back to our original topic. We were talking about this thing with Willie Brown and Kamala, and Willie's remarks about Kamala's history, in terms of who she slept with and whether or not that was appropriate. So you were saying that it was strategic, that she was very strategic about her relationships. I agree. I think that her marriage to Doug, it seems like her long-term goal of becoming president or whatever she wanted to be kind of fit into a lot of her personal choices, which,
Mm-hmm.
if you think about it, that's not entirely stupid at all.
Right.
It's not stupid at all, right? I mean, really, in if you think about this, right? Kamala is more Indian than she is black. She's not African American, but she's one fourth or one half Jamaican,
She's
depending on how you look at it.
Jamaican Indian American.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
That sounds good. Right. And she went to Howard, so she's had some exposure to black culture. But I'd be willing to bet you that in her Indian side of the family, marrying strategically is something that she was probably taught to do. That's something a lot of cultures do. I think that when we talk about marrying just for love or marrying just because somebody looks cute or
Mm-hmm.
because the sex is good, I don't think that is good delayed gratification. I don't think that's good disciplined thinking.
No,
And,
it's
and if you
not.
look at black families and you see just the issues we have with broken families and baby mama issues and all that, I don't know. Maybe if we married based on economic stability, that might make a difference. Now, I say that though by saying that I openly object to the idea of believing that marrying a white man is the only way to be successful. Though I think black people have to marry each other. I do believe that, even though I have people in my own family who married white. I have nothing against it. I don't tell them that what they did was wrong. I just say, stop telling me that marrying a white man is your path to salvation.
Well, I don't. It's the path to her salvation.
It
I
must be,
mean,
yeah.
she had she had her eyes set. Let's just imagine she had her eyes set on the presidency. That was amazing to marry a white Jewish man.
Mm,
That was the best move she could have made. I mean, if that's really what her goal, her ultimate goal is the ultimate position to be in, she made the right choice for her. Now, I don't know how strict. I do believe that definitely in some Indian families, they do care about. I mean, it's a big emphasis on who you get with. But I'm certain her family, and I don't know her family very well, but I know Indian families. I know it's never in their scenario for them to have a baby with a Jamaican. Like
mm,
I am certain that she experienced, her and her mom experienced something. They
mm.
experienced something uncomfortable
Yeah,
because it is a big deal who you have a baby with and who you get with in
that's so
Indian
true.
families. Like almost to the point where it's like, why should you even choose? We'll pick somebody for you.
Mm.
Right. So I'm certain that was not a comfortable situation for her mother to be in. And even for her, it is
Well,
not in anybody's book to go and have a couple babies with a Jamaican man.
That's so true. Well, I do agree with that, and I think what's interesting to what's really fascinating to me about Kamala's, choosing Dougie is, and I think this is why a lot of black men kind of find it a little offensive. Is Kamala's a beautiful woman. I think she's very attractive. I know a lot of quality men who would have been happy to marry her. And the idea that you went through thousands of black men, like you met thousands of men, at least hundreds or dozens
Well, it's
of
hard for
men.
a black woman out here,
It
remember?
no, no, it is, but it's not
Yeah.
hard for Kamala. It's not hard for everybody, and
Well,
it's not hard for women that are trained to be good wives. Like I think, just like men
who's
who,
to say she's not a good wife? Listen,
I didn't
when
say,
you say trained to be good wives, that
yeah,
makes me cringe
why.
because what's a good wife is so subjective.
It is subjective, but
It
I think
is
I think I
what's a
think
good wife to somebody
I
is a
think men
terrible
should.
wife to
I
somebody
think men
else.
should be trained to be good husbands. I was
There's
I
so much you're value
I
basing
was trained
that.
to be a good husband by watching my father and watching him stay married to my mama for 50 years.
See, that's one example. That's not
Hmm.
necessarily the best example all the time.
It may not be a perfect example, but it was my example.
Okay, so
And
everybody has their own example.
hmm
I don't know when you say trained to be a good wife, I don't know, in my mind that just bothers me. The whole
I
thing
don't
about training to be a good wife that just gets me.
I don't
Hatshepsut didn't need to be
I
trained to
don't
be.
think, no, I think we all have to be trained. I think we have to be trained on how to treat people. And so my point is to say, yeah, I mean I got trained by my father, and it makes a difference. People that haven't sat there and watched their parents stay married 50 years don't know this, right? But let me just tell you, it makes a difference. Like when
Yeah, I can't
me
speak
me
on.
me and my brother are both married, and
Hmm.
what happens when you have a father who's just eternally devoted to his wife is that when you come home and you say we're having issues, that person doesn't give you reasons to walk away. They give you reasons to go back home.
Yeah, well, I
And,
can't speak on your parents' marriage because I don't know.
well, I'm not talking about just them. I'm just talking
I'm
about in general. Like I no, it's like listen. It's like talking about talking to a marathon runner. If you're a marathon runner and you've run 18 miles and you want to quit, and you talk to another runner, they're gonna give you reasons to continue. But if you've run 18 miles and you want to quit, and you talk to a person who's never run a marathon before, they're gonna give you reasons to stop running. They're gonna say, "Why in the hell? You already ran 18 miles. That's really good. Why would you torture yourself?" A marathon runner though would say, "Here's how you can continue the run." Tell you, I'm right. You are a runner, and you know what I'm talking about because runners are crazy. People who run marathons, they not like everybody else. Seriously, it's
I'm
a
just gonna
mindset.
let you talk because clearly I can't say anything
Go
here.
ahead,
I'm a relationship expert and I cannot say anything at all about this because you're talking.
go ahead.
Okay, let's get back to this because I don't want to get into like your parents because I don't know. I
Well,
don't
it's
even
not.
want to comment
Well,
on
it's not
that.
about my parents. It's about marathon
Right.
runners and non-runners.
I don't even want to comment on any of that. Let's get back to Camila.
Kamala.
Kamala. Stop
Okay.
correcting me. I hate when people do that.
Well, her name is Kamala. We got
I
to
can't say
put some
Kamala.
respect on her name.
Jesus. So okay, so she was strategic. You're thinking train not to be a good wife. I have
No,
issues with
I'm not.
that.
I didn't say she wasn't. No, I didn't say that.
I have issues with that.
I said this. I'd like to understand, how did you meet so many black men, but somehow you decided Dougie was the best choice? I think that Dougie being a Jewish high-powered attorney made a big difference. A lot of black women that you see that are high up in politics or in Hollywood tend to
Hmm.
be married to white Jewish guys. That's the reality.
It
If
is.
you,
It's
the
helpful.
lady from Abbott Elementary, her husband's a white
Hmm.
Jewish man.
Yep.
Lee Daniels, when he did Empire, he had a boyfriend or husband or something that was a white Jewish man.
Yep.
Ketanji Brown Jackson, and again, this is
Is
a,
her husband
I
Jewish?
don't know if he's Jewish, but I know he's 7 generations deep at Harvard, which told me why
Hmm.
she got connected to the Supreme Court. See, the subtlety people don't understand is that to get into the halls of power, there is a nepotism that does take place,
There is.
and there's a matter of being connected. If Kamala Harris, I'm going to say, if Kamala Harris was married to an African American male, I don't think she would be in the position she's in right now.
Mm.
I don't believe that. Also, the other thing too is if she herself was an African American, the probability of her being there would be much much lower, because America does this funny little dance with black people. They'll say, look, we'll get something that is similar to an African American, but we won't pick an actual African American,
2.0.
especially an African
Okay.
American married to another African American. So if you look at, like, for example, Joe Biden has that black lady, John Karen Pierre, whatever her name is, who's his press secretary, but she's
Mhm.
not African American. Ketanji Brown Jackson is black. Supreme Court. She's not African American though. Kamala Harris is part Jamaican, but she's
Mhm.
not African American. Barack Obama was part Kenyan, but not African American. So I think that America has a fear and a fundamental disrespect for black people who are descendants of slavery,
Running this country.
particularly if they are conscious of
Mhm.
what their people have gone through. Those people, that's why even I guarantee you that even as popular as Michelle Obama is, if Michelle had run for president, I think they would have ate her up.
I don't know how. I mean, she is so popular.
Yeah.
Everybody loves
Oh,
Michelle.
I love Michelle.
She's great. I follow her on Instagram.
Yeah, Michelle.
She's like, I'm in her comments. She's
Yeah, like
marvelous.
my Black Radar really says good things about Michelle.
Yeah.
Like, I think she gets it. I think she understands. So I don't know. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe my theory's wrong, but you can't really point. I mean, I think that making that distinction of saying, look, don't just put any black person up there and say they represent us. Like, I can't go
Mhm.
to Jamaica and then replace a Jamaican. I can't
Mhm.
go to, if I go to Australia and say, "Hey, I'm African American. I'm just like the Aboriginal people." The Aboriginal people are gonna say, "Well, no, that ain't. He's not like us." So I think
Mhm.
African Americans have a right to say, "Yeah, yeah, she's kind of got some. She's not a white man, but she's not an African American woman." And I think that that makes it. It doesn't disqualify her. It just means, like,
I
once
kind of, yeah, I kind of feel like a United States is different though. You know, so many different cultures come into the United States, and I have talked to people. I mean, I have Jamaicans in my family. And
Mhm.
I think in terms of like the way they've been socialized, there is a difference, but they still share. We're still attached at the hip. They still share some common instances. Like to talk to them, I don't feel like, oh, I'm talking to a Jamaican person. No, I feel like, yeah, I'm talking to another black person. So I mean, I do think that there is something to be said about not being white
I
and raised in
I
this
don't
country.
disagree, but I will say it seems to
Uh-huh.
me with
There's some similarities
right,
for
and
sure.
not to typecast my Jamaican friends because I have a lot of them. I will say it's more like you have different kinds of Jamaican people that might come to the country, right? You've
Hmm.
got those who understand America and those who do not. And what I mean by that is sometimes you'll have a Jamaican friend who really thinks that African Americans are just a bunch of lazy idiots
I don't know any who
that
think
don't want to
that.
work hard. I've seen that. I've
Do
seen,
they?
yeah, or that if I just blend in with white folks, then I'm gonna blend in and it's gonna be fine for me.
Oh,
And
well,
or
they quickly wise up. I do
yeah,
know some Caribbean people to come in and feel like, oh, if I just blend in with white people, pretty soon you see them like a couple of years later, and they're like, oh my God, these white people,
yeah, they're
they
broken.
they understand, yeah.
Well, one time I remember I got into trouble. I was at a this event called the PhD Project, and it's this group. They still run it. KPMG sponsors it, and this
Hmm.
it's for basically to recruit Black people to get PhDs in business. And I was on a panel, and I remember there was a person from the Caribbean who said something about race and that
Hmm.
race it wasn't a factor and whatever. And I said, and I said it in a very inarticulate way because I was probably in my 20s at the time, maybe early 30s. But I said, I remember saying basically, I said, yeah, whatever you were in your other country, you were probably more human. I said,
That's right.
but unfortunately, when you get to America, you're gonna end up being a nigga like the rest of us.
That's right.
And I said that,
So true.
and so what happened was I remember they were in shock that I said that.
The N word,
And
they didn't like
but
that.
here's the funny part: there was a black lady in the room who was married to a white man, and she went and snitched. She went and told them what I said.
Uh-huh.
They never put me on another panel after that. Like, she went and told them. She went and, like, she was like, "Well, I just wanted you to get ahead of it, and because I wanted to make sure that they just kind of knew that this was the conversation." And I
She
was like,
told on you. She got uncomfortable with that.
"She did. Well, she got a little white husband, you know, and it's kind of like." there are some black people. The interesting thing about black people is that we're so different, and some of us are just flat out scared of white people. We're just afraid. We're scared
We
to
should be,
be
right?
honest,
I can understand
or
that.
or we're looking for allies in all the wrong places. Like we say, okay, these are the good white folks, these are the
Yeah.
bad white folks. And what we don't understand is that again, you don't have to hate white people to feel this way. Like I have lots of friends who are white that I respect and admire, but at the same time, I don't perceive the Democrats or the Republicans to be our allies. Your allies are the ones who created mass incarceration and the war on drugs and the many things that destroy you. So, in my view, black people don't, in America, descendants of slaves who truly have a strong black identity have no
Mm.
friends.
But to have a strong black identity, you have to go through an identity process. There's a development. There's an identity development that happens in us. Everybody.
Mm,
And so that's why sometimes when I see people do certain things that of course I wouldn't do as a black person, I understand that they're just at a different stage of identity development. They'll come around.
yeah.
They'll come around, have a solid black identity.
Michelle thinks that we're ignorant because she thinks that I think that all Jamaicans are black, which I never said that. Did I say all Jamaicans are black?
Jamaicans are black.
Not every Jamaican's black.
There they are. Jamaicans are black. Like that's the thing. Like
Well,
Jamaicans, they
there's African heritage there for sure, but the
it's
Jamaicans
definitely
are the,
African
and
heritage.
really, I think that we should be careful about talking too much about Jamaica in the sense that we're not experts on Jamaica, right? And I don't want to be respectful, but I will say that generally speaking, when we were in Jamaica, we pretty much saw mostly black people there, like there, like
Well,
so.
yeah, there's Chinese Jamaicans,
No,
right?
no, 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 no.
What do you mean?
No, that just in terms of like I think that maybe some deeper research might be done on your part to make sure you know all the cultural mixes that come into Jamaica. Because it's. But I do remember. I will say this: when we were in Jamaica and we spent a lot of time there,
Yeah,
pretty much everybody we talked to looked like us,
they did.
right? And most of the people we saw, right? So yeah, but I think that it's but either way though, but I think the general point though is with Kamala, she has Jamaican heritage, and that can be defined as a type of black. And I know that her father identified as Afro Jamaican. But at the same time, that's not African American. That's not descendants of slave. And I think that's the point that I want to make. It's not about what Jamaicans are, because I have nothing against Jamaica. I would just
But
say apply the same standard. Like if I was to go to Jamaica and say I'm just like a native Jamaican, people would say that's not true, and they would be correct.
but Jamaica is so much different from. Okay, but you know what? She was born and raised here in America,
So
right?
okay.
So the thing is that if you went to Jamaica and was like your parents, you were born and raised in Jamaica, I don't think anybody would say you're less than Jamaican. Like they would
Um,
embrace you as a Jamaican. I'm
I
almost certain.
Yeah, but I look at I get that point. I get that
You know
point
what I
too.
mean? But it wasn't like she was born in Jamaica and then came here.
Well,
And I
the,
think there's a
the
difference
bigger
there.
challenge is that when you consider how important reparations is on the ballot, it's not about your experience as a black person. It's about your birthright. What is your birthright? And she has no birthright when it comes to reparations and slavery and all that. She has none here, right? So she's not going to fight for it. So the people that are fighting for it are just saying, "Hey, we want what's ours," and I think that that's okay to say that. So I'm not telling anybody to vote or not to vote for whoever. I'm just saying that I'm not participating in. I'm going to vote third
Mhm.
party. That's it.
Yeah, both third party. I mean, we live in the state of Illinois, so it's not even gonna make a difference because we
Right.
already know what Illinois is gonna be,
Exactly.
without you. So
Exactly. They don't need me. I ain't
they don't need
important.
you in Illinois. It's not like a swing state.
No,
You'll be up
no,
your butt.
ain't nobody swinging in Illinois. But anyway, okay. So it's
Are we
just
done?
we are done. It's time to go to sleep. I'm gonna try to get a little bit of sleep before we take off today. So what I'll do is I'll keep on sharing pictures and video with you guys. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at Dr. Boyce Finance if you want to see our pictures from our trip to Egypt. And also we will do another group trip at some point. So if you want to travel with us, the next one will probably be Ghana or South Africa. We're trying to decide. And so I'll
Are you
let you.
gonna take a poll? Are you gonna?
Yeah,
How are you
probably.
gonna decide?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. And so anyway, so if you go to boyceandalicia.com, you can get a free e-copy of my book, Financial Lovemaking, as well as We have a Black Love Challenge. You guys can take if you want to take a look at that. Also, if you want to join us at the All Black National Convention, that's going to be in Chicago, Illinois, Lombard, Illinois, to be precise, which is right outside of Chicago. Feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com, and that's where we get together and solve our problems. Because at the end of the day, whether you're Democrat, Republican, independent, gay, straight, male, female, or anything, young, old, rich, poor, the reality is that if we don't fix it, it ain't going to get fixed. And that's what we're trying to do, right? So before you get mad at me because I didn't vote for your favorite politician, I hope you'll consider that at the end of the day, we have to vote for ourselves. We want to vote for our families. We want to vote for Black wealth, and we want to vote for strengthening our part of the community. So if you're in line with that, if you get what we're saying, if you have an expertise that you'd like to bring to the table, or if you don't, or if you just are a father or mother or a concerned citizen, then join us at the All Black National Convention in Chicago. That's it. That's where your relatives live. So love you guys. Have a good night. The URL's on the screen, allblacknationalconvention.com. I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.